Hey, welcome back to Cocoanix 3D printing. Today, I wanna go through 10 myths in 3D printing that I see come up all the time. Things that sound completely reasonable, but can actually mess up your prints. Some of these I believed myself when I was starting out. Let's just jump straight into it. Cleaning your build plate with IPA is the best way to get good adhesion. This is probably the most repeated piece of advice in the whole community. And look, I get it. IPA evaporates fast, it feels clean, it looks like it's working. But here's the thing. A lot of time IPA doesn't actually remove oils from the surface, it just kind of smears them around. So your plate looks spotless, but there's a thin invisible layer of residue sitting there ruining your adhesion. The fix is honestly way simpler than you would expect. Just use warm water and regular dish soap. That's it. Soap is literally designed to break down oils and lift them off the surfaces. Give them a quick wash, dry it properly, and you're good to go. I'll be honest, I was doing the IPA thing for ages, and I kept wondering why my prints kept lifting at the edges. Switched to dish soap and water, and the difference was immediate. I haven't really had to think about adhesion since, so if you're having sticking issues and you're using IPA, just try the soap thing first. Enclosures are only worth if you're printing ABS. Yeah, ABS really does need an enclosure. It warps like crazy without one, but the idea that enclosures are useless for anything else just isn't true. Two big things an enclosure does for you regardless of material. It keeps dust and debris away from your printer and your print surface, and it stabilizes the temperature on the print. That second one matters more than you might realize. If someone opens a door or there's a drought in the room, or the heat's kicking in, all of that can affect how your print cools, and inconsistent cooling causes problems. Warping, layer separation, bad surface quality. Even PETG, which most people consider pretty forgiving, actually prints noticeably better in an enclosed, warmer environment. You get better layer bonding and fewer random little imperfections. And honestly, you can just look at what the printer manufacturers are doing. More and more new printers are coming with enclosures built in or as a standard add-on. That's not coincidence, they do help. Default filament profiles are good enough. Default profiles are fine as a starting point. They're designed to be a safe middle ground for a wide range of setups, but here's the problem. 3D printing has a ton of variables. Your printer, your room temperature, your specific spool of filament. None of that is accounted for in a generic default profile. Two spools of the same branded material can behave differently. That's just the reality. If you load up a default profile and you never touch it, you're probably leaving a lot of quality on the table. You might get stringing, poor layer adhesion, weak parts, and that can be just really confusing because it feels like something is broken when really you just need to tune your settings. The approach most experienced people take is to treat the defaults as a starting point and then make small adjustments from there. Temperature, speed, retraction, cooling, even minor tweaks to these can make a big difference. You don't need to change everything at once, just learn what each setting does and start experimenting a little. Wet filament doesn't really matter. This one trips a lot of people up, because you literally cannot see the problem. Wet filament looks exactly the same as dry filament from the outside. But if your filament has been sitting out for a while, it's probably absorbed some moisture from the air, because materials like PLA, PETG and especially nylon are hygroscopic, which just mean they absorb water over time. When the moisture-loaded filaments hit the hot nozzle, the water turns into steam. You might hear popping or crackling while it prints, but even if you don't, it's still affecting your print. You'll see stringing, rough surfaces, inconsistent extrusion, sometimes even brittle parts. The solution is pretty simple. Store your filament in a sealed containers with desiccant packets or get a filament dryer. If you're already having weirdly inconsistent print quality and you can't figure out why, try drying your filament. It fixes more problems than people expect. 100% infill gives you the strongest part. This one really does make sense on the surface. More plastic equals stronger part, right? But it's more complicated than that. The outer walls of a print handle the majority of a mechanical stress, not the infill. So if you want a stronger part, the most effective thing you can do is increase your wall count. Going from 2 to 4 parameters will usually give you a bigger strength improvement than going from 50 to 100% infill. On top of that, printing at 100% infill can actually cause issues. There is no room for any variation inside the part, so if you're even slightly over extruding, it can build up internal pressure, cause surface defects or create weak spots. And it takes way longer and it uses a lot more material for not that much extra benefit. A better approach is to use moderate infill, increase your wall count, and pick an infill pattern that suits when the part needs to do. That combination will give you the best results than just cranking infill to the max. More cooling is always better. This one sounds reasonable. Cooling helps the filament hold its shape, so more cooling should help more, right? But too much cooling causes its own set of problems. The main issue is layer adhesion. If the filament cools too fast, it doesn't bond properly with the layer below it. The print can look totally fine on the outside, but actually be quite weak along the layer lines. This gets worse in materials like PETG or ABS, which actually prefer low cooling or even no cooling at all. Blasting them with a fan causes warping, crackling, and inconsistent results. The right approach is to match your cooling to your material. PLA can handle a lot of cooling and it benefits from it. PETG and ABS usually need much less. A lot of slicers let you change fan speed by layer or a feature, which is worth taking advantage of once you're comfortable with your slicer. Faster printing is always better. Faster printers are genuinely exciting, and the speed is a real advantage, but speed for its own sake can hurt your prints. When you print too fast, the hot end has less time to melt the filament properly, which leads to under-extrusion. The printer also has to move more aggressively, which increases vibration, and that also shows up as ringing or ghosting on the surface of your print. Fine details suffer too. Cooling is also a factor. If you're printing too fast, layers don't have time to cool before the next one lands on top of it, which can cause sagging and poor overhangs. The smart way is to use speed selectively. Most people who print fast keep higher speeds for infill and slow down for outer walls and detailed sections where precision actually matters. That way you can save time without sacrificing quality. The default infill pattern is always fine. Most slicers default to something like lines or grid, and honestly they're not bad. But different infill patterns have very different properties, and there are definitely situations where switching makes a real difference. If you need a strong functional part, something like gyro or cubic gives you more balance strength in all directions compared to a simple grid. If you're printing a decorative object that doesn't need to handle any stress, you can use a faster, lighter pattern and save time and material. It's a small thing to change, but it's worth knowing that the default isn't always the best option. Spending 30 seconds picking a more appropriate pattern can noticeably improve how a part performs or how long it takes to print. Higher temperature always means stronger prints. Higher temperature does help with layer adhesion up to a point, but beyond that optimal range it starts creating problems. When the filament is too hot, it gets too fluid. You get stringing, blobs and loss of fine detail. With some materials, high temperatures can actually start to degrade the plastic itself, making the finished part weaker, even the layers will look well bonded. High temperatures also hurt dimensional accuracy. Parts can come out slightly deformed or softer looking because the material doesn't hold its shape as well when it gets too hot. The best way to find your sweet spot is to print a temperature tower. It takes maybe 20 minutes and it will show you exactly where your filament performs the best. It's one of those calibration steps that's really worth doing at least once per new filament type. Smaller layer heights make your prints stronger. Smaller layer heights make your prints look better, smoother surfaces, more refined details, that part is true, but stronger? Not necessarily. Strength in FDM printing depends mostly on how well layer bonds to each other, and thinner layers don't automatically improve that. In fact, if your settings are dialed in very well, very small layer heights can actually result in weaker bonds because there is less material being laid down per layer and more room for tiny calibration errors to stack up. Wall count and print orientation have a much bigger impact on strength than layer height, and there is a time cost too. Going to very small layer heights can double or triple your print time without giving you a proportional gain in strength. Use small layer heights when the visual quality matters. For functional parts where strength is the priority, focus on walls, orientation and infill pattern first. So, that's the 10 myths. To quickly recap, wash your plate with soap, not just IPA. Enclosures help with more than just ABS. Default profiles are a starting point, not the finish line. Dry your filament. More infill isn't the same as more strength. Cooling, speed, temperature all have sweet spots. There is no more is always better. Pick your infill pattern intentionally. And fine new layers look great but don't actually make your prints that much stronger. These are all the things that are easy to overlook, especially if you're just getting into it. But once you understand them, a lot of problems start making a lot more sense. Hope this was helpful. Make sure to subscribe, like, and I will see you in the next one.